Hello everyone, I am the Lore Explorer and this is Outer Wilds. And this is gonna be my first unscripted video. I decided I'd do something a little different and really just talk about why I love Outer Wilds. I figured if we're gonna do an unscripted one, that'll be the one to do because I could probably talk about that for a long time. So what I thought I'd do is just kind of compare it to other games I played, not directly, but just altogether. Why I like this compared to other games. So first off, I have always been the kind of guy that likes open world role-playing games with a good narrative. If you got a world that can immerse me, I can sink into it and spend a lot of time there and just feel like I'm there, you got me hooked. And in my opinion, Outer Wilds is like at the top of the charts at that. It plops you in with a character that you know almost little to nothing about, you train to be an astronaut, and later on you found out you've been like fished out of a lake once or something. But that's all you know about the hatchling. You can project yourself onto the hatchling. And the world itself isn't even just open world, it's open solar system, right? You hop in your spaceship, you can fly anywhere in the solar system, no load screens, no barriers other than maybe time and the mechanics of the game. It just, everything's there. There's no, you got to talk to this guy before this unlocks, and it's all there for you right out of the gate, and the game trusts you to just find it. Which really isn't something you find in a lot of games. In a lot of games, there's a character that's there holding your hand, or a mission giver that's telling you exactly what to do. You can check your journal and it'll tell you exactly the last step you took, or there's even a guy on the radio saying, hey, do this right now. In this game, no. There's none of that. You're by yourself, alone, out in space, and you got no help. So it's very refreshing to me that there's a game that just gives you everything, says, here, no hand holding, you go figure it out, we trust you. And something else to touch on that is how a lot of the game is just environmental storytelling. Storytelling that what's around you. You can almost tell when this character throws the rock into the pen that you probably shouldn't go into that pen. That seems dangerous, right? A big glowing green thing. No one really has to tell you that. There's a sign there if you want to read it. But there's environmental hints and storytelling all over this game. When in a lot of games, you go into a building, you find the book, and you read the book, and it tells you what happened at the building. And let's be honest, everybody just skips through that book anyway. They don't really read it. And I think it's just much more fun and immersive way to go through a video game, to just piece everything together through immersive storytelling or environmental storytelling. And Outer Wilds has a unique way of kind of letting you tap into the text in the game. It's not just a lore dump. As you read the text, it's telling you a story of what's happened, but you're kind of also going through that same thing. So it makes you feel like you're a part of not only the story you are in now, but the story of the past of the Nomai. Like you're running through the same caves and trying not to get buried by sand, and you're trying to take the same flights and shuttles and find the same buildings and all of that stuff. All of the text just makes you feel like it was for a citizen of the game and not for someone playing the game to tell them everything about it. And another thing I find cool is it's just the story that you're immersed in. There's nobody narrating it. You're figuring it out as you go. You can finish the game without having a single iota of an idea of what's going on, and it'd still be a very impactful game. When I first finished the game, I was floored by it because I had no idea what had just happened. And somehow, these developers and writers, with no real cohesive way to tell a narrative, that's all by choice, right? They still are able to make plot twists and shake things up and surprise you all the way to the end of the game. And it really is just something unique and impactful, in my opinion. And speaking of unique, the mechanics in this game are just awesome. I mean, all of the surfaces are spheres, right? They're not just a flat surface that you can go about. It's a real 3D planet, real 3D objects. You can go inside and play around. And your spaceship, I mean, there's simulated physics. The whole solar system is simulated. The planets are not on rails. Their speed, their velocity in space, the direction they're going dictates their orbit. And it's just really, really cool how everything is done as if it's a real solar system. And I think that's undervalued in a game. Like, there's simulated physics that are wonky and crazy, and there's something to it being realistic. The fact that you can just get in a Nomai shuttle launch 10 times and maybe figure out orbital mechanics is just amazing to me. And not to mention, when you actually land a shuttle, you get to walk out like a badass, turn around and look at it and like, yep, I'm a Nomai, that's right. But jokes aside, it actually is kind of a pretty good teaching tool. I can get my nephew or a friend and bring him in and show him a Nomai shuttle, show him what it's all about, show him prograde and retrograde, and explain how everything's already moving through space, and it's just a good, fun, intuitive way to learn something with, or by interacting with something that's fun. And not to mention that they integrated one of the deepest mysteries in science into the main story of the game, right? Quantum mechanics, and how, it's on a macro scale in the game, but how when they're observed, they collapse into a certainty, and when they're not observed, they exist in a state of possibilities. And that is just in the game, right for everybody to learn. And you might not even realize that you're learning real science. Like, it might seem like sci-fi, but it's really real life science, just on a micro or on a macro scale instead of the micro scale that happens in real life. Now, it might seem like a big secret, but I have always loved space. I've always been really interested in space. And to see things that are, we've never seen as humans in space that are actually simulated and kind of seem real, like this binary planet we're about to fly up to, is just crazy to me. It's something I've always wanted to do in life, and I wish I could, and the way the game gives you the opportunity to feel like you're actually doing all that is something precious to me, and something I really, really enjoy. Like, when you come into a game knowing a little bit about something, and it gives you just free reign with it, it makes you feel sort of the master of the game. Like, I was able to do tricks with a spaceship, like, aero brake, and slow down a lot quicker in atmospheres, and use little tricks that I knew and brought to the game with me, and they all worked perfectly, flawlessly. And I think one of the last things I want to talk about is how it's not only just a real-life space simulator, it's kind of a real-life universe simulator. The events that happen in the game are not fun, you know what I mean? They're not something that you think you would have fun doing or finding out, but it's so interesting and intriguing and true to real life. Like, one day our sun is going to expand. There could be a comet that comes in and wipes us all out. The universe could be rapidly dying because it expanded too much, and the heat death is just a lot quicker than we thought it was. All of these things are possibilities, and it makes you think about them and face them, and think about things in ways that you might not have thought about before. And I guess to me, that's one of the most important things to a video game, is not only transporting you to a place you've never been before, but getting you into a mind space to think in a way you've never thought before. Like, when I was playing the game, I really felt like I was a hatchling in a time loop, and I felt the best way to help everybody was to stop that time loop. But as I played, I realized it wasn't really as simple as that. The sun is dying naturally. If you shut down the Ash Twin projects, everybody dies. And it sort of puts you in this desperate situation and makes you so stressed that the only option you feel that is left to you is to go to a place you've no idea what it is or what it's going to do. Your only respite from all of this is the eye of the universe, the source of all uncertainty. Think about that. You chose to go to the source of everything that is uncertain, the cause of all uncertainty in the world. Any rational person would not want to go there. But it put us in a situation where, well, maybe that's the best choice. It makes you think in a way that you've never thought because you've never experienced it. And it does it in such a convincing way. And even after the game is over, you're left asking questions like, well, what is self? I mean, we transferred our memories back over and over, but we never went through a black hole. Was that really us? And just philosophical questions that are pushed to your face, but you don't really have to address them if you don't want to. They're there for you to think about, but you can push past them. And that's something I actually kind of respect, is it's not trying to teach you a lesson. It's not trying to shove this stuff down your throat. It's just presenting it to you, and you get whatever you want to out of that. So I guess really what I'm trying to say is Outer Wilds kind of does all the things I liked to do before the game came out, wraps them all into one, and presents them in a fun and immersive way to experience those things. Like, I always have liked thinking about philosophical questions. What is self? Are memories what make up our reality, and just so on and so forth. Well, the game presents that. The game also presents space travel, which I've always wanted to do. The game also presents exploration, which I am fond of doing. I mean, there's just so much in the game that I love already inherently, and to wrap it all up together in one is just a gift I never thought I would ever get. So I want to thank the people that made Outer Wilds so very much. It's something very dear to me, and hopefully you guys can all agree that Outer Wilds is something special. So I've probably rambled on a bit too long about how much I like Outer Wilds, but I figured it was probably something you guys might be interested in, or at least find amusing or cool in some way, so I figured I'd share it. And if you liked it, consider liking and subscribing to the channel and all that. And if you'd like to support the channel in more direct ways, you can become a member. That unlocks like badges next to your name in the comments, and old live streams and stuff like that. You could do that by clicking the join button below. And as always, a special thank you to the members here on the channel. You guys really are amazing, and I really appreciate you guys. So thank you, and thanks for watching. I hope to see you all in the next video.